know, this is a market that is in a state of disruption unlike anything we've seen in decades. The role of HR is transforming, the way we work is transforming, and our customers are really talking to us about how do we create a blueprint for transformation. And there's a lot of different points of view. One is that we can use best-of-breed applications to string together a horizontal process like recruit to retire. But we've imagined a different future. What we've done is we've connected all of our talent applications together, adding core HR in the cloud, so that we can now recruit, plan, onboard, learn in one common process. And what's interesting is that we're not specifying that you need to rip and replace everything that you've got. What we're saying is you have choice, and to us this market is about choice. You can keep your on-premise investment and migrate at a slower pace, maybe just incrementing with talent, or you can transform end-to-end. And what we've built in response to what the market's telling us is a modular way to fulfill that transformation. We live in a highly connected world, and the way we work is fundamentally different. Today, our engagement largely is social, and so we've layered social, called Jam, across the top of our entire portfolio. And where people are using that is, if you think about learning as an example, the way we learned in the past was we would buy content for $1,400 an hour, we'd fly people to a classroom, state-of-the-art was e-learning, and that's just not the way we work today. The way we work is we have subject matters experts everywhere throughout the organization. And so content has largely been democratized and largely has become free. And the notion of classrooms, I don't learn that way, and the millennials coming into our world don't learn that way. We learn in sound bites of 15 minutes at maximum, and we want to be able to search for that content in the way that we interact with searching on Google or working in Facebook. And so these sound bites allow us to learn with the right technology and the right content in the right way. And so social and engagement and learning have all melded into one broader solution. And you'll see that contrast almost throughout. The other area of advancement has been in the notion of analytics. For a long time now, we've been able to aggregate data and run reports. But what that really does is just give us a picture of what's happened. And there's this new notion called predictive HCM. And the only way that you actually get there is at the scale of what SuccessFactors is doing with 22 million subscribers, 3,700 customers in 35 countries. And because our subscribers interact with us every single day, we get a very good view of anonymized data. And so we can tell you what the top 2,000 metrics are in HR, and you can actually subscribe to those. So if you imagine going from aggregated data to metrics and KPIs, now we can start to combine those metrics to give us predictive insight. The way that we work in no way is supported by the systems of the past. These need to be consumer grade, instantly usable, they need to be shareable, they need to work where we work, which is mobile and disconnected. And that infrastructure and that capability exists. And it's only in the last few years that unless you've thought about that transformation, you're still stuck using systems of the past. And one of the big drivers in the market is reimagining the role of HR. I think that the technology is here. I think that you need the scale. I think that the combination of SAP and SuccessFactors alone in this market can actually give that distribution, and the innovation that's driven from that is phenomenal. We also have a strategy which says we will be unnaturally advantaged in this market in our own integration to our own family. When SAP acquired us, we did almost a quasi-reverse acquisition. We rolled all of the on-premise accounts, customers and users, 35,000 in 75 countries, 52 million users, into the cloud business unit. So now we could really offer our customers, what does state-of-the-art HCM look like? Not what does cloud look like or on-premise. And so with that, we are unnaturally advantaging ourselves in the market in our own family. Our core HR in the cloud speaks seamlessly to our on-premise, so our customers have choice. The HR functions create transactions that impact the financial infrastructure. So when you make a change in an organization, moving an employee from group A to group B, there's a cost center change, there's a P&L, there's a budget. And because we have such a footprint running companies' financials, we've integrated in our own family. And SAP, of course, has HANA, and HANA plays a pivotal role in our strategy. HANA becomes the aggregation point for all of this integration that I've just described, but more importantly, to future-proof yourself, what you really need to have is the ability to create white space applications and connective tissue apps that we may not have contemplated. And using HANA, you can build through our tool sets these applications. And it's not just that you can build them, we can build them, our partners can build them, and in fact today there are more than 500 of these applications available in the HANA marketplace. So the synergies, the extensibility, and the framework to future-proof HCM outside of just the recruit to retire employee lifecycle that I described is really what this market is demanding. And this isn't a demand that is going to occur, this is a demand that has occurred. HR has never been under more pressure to evolve and be able to measure the impact that they generate against business. And if you think about strategy, the component to deliver strategy is people. And if you just follow that and you say, I have a top-line strategy and I have two choices, I can look at my skills catalog and decide that I have the necessary people, and through learning management I can bring them up to what I need to hit that strategy, or I have to recruit externally, and then I have to tie that back against the objective of what the plan was. And so this way of thinking about what is the impact that HR can drive against a strategy that's quantifiable is a shift versus a service bureau that's transactional. We're getting to a point of predictive HCM where we're going to be accountable for the last 100 applicants that we hired. How fast did they onboard? Did they produce? Are they candidates for succession? Not just did we check the box that we filled that head count. And so that's a transition that we see from the best CHRO leaders that I'm fortunate enough to talk to every day. It's about peer-to-peer interaction. How do I benchmark? How do I measure? What are the KPIs? What should I be thinking about? And that innovation and that sense of community and that participation means that our entire industry moves forward. And I think HR is squarely in the center of it. We're in for a fascinating and exciting ride, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. The future will be about seamless adoption of new capabilities that will be automatically pushed to you, consumable via mobile, interacted via social. If you think about recruiting for a second, we used to be focused on how many candidates could we push through the applicant tracking system. But today, recruiting actually starts with workforce planning and analytics. Where do I need them? What do they look like? How much do they cost? And that plan doesn't contemplate the reaction to talent. It's actually foretelling the future through predictive analytics. That then starts to feed sourcing strategies, and we need to evolve from recruiter-led sourcing strategies to what a view of a candidate looks like. Today, our view of a candidate's view and how they present themselves in the world really looks like this. It's what I think I want the world to think of me is in LinkedIn. You can validate who I am through my social network. You can see my interactions. I will have peer reviews, which are probably more valuable than anything in terms of validation. And I'll have a formal resume, and so the web becomes my resume, and my social network becomes my peer and validation and references. Our employees of the future will have more information about who we are, and so our brand and our culture and how we nurture talent and how we retain talent are highly visible. And so we're into an age of transparency. So evolution from transaction in the HR function to enablement, evolution of new technologies that allow different insights and really change the balance of power. And I think that, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And this is happening as we speak. And those companies that don't anticipate these changes will be largely left in the past, because the applications of the past no way reflect what we do in the future. And tomorrow is not going to look like today.